It was round about here that my brother shot his first tiger. There's nothing in Mccluskieganj. The only thing is here, in Mccluskieganj, you've got quietness here. You've got peace. My name is Wilfred Arthur Stringer. I'm returning to Mccluskieganj after a very, very long time. It's the place where my mother and father had their roots for about 25 years, and I hope to retire in Mccluskieganj. My mother was buried in the cemetery. My mother was Scottish, and she had chance after chance of going to England. Fred, no, I don't want to go to England. Fred, I don't want to go. I don't want to go to Scotland. She had relations up in Scotland and Edinburgh. But she said, no, Fred, I love India and I want to die in India. And she died there and she was buried there. I liked England, it was all right. I got my, every time my holidays came, I went to places like Southend, Bournemouth, Blackpool. I was always had good jobs. And I finally finished up at Sainsbury's as a checkout manager. But then I came to the conclusion, I said, let's see if I can turn the tide my way and go back to the country that I was born in. This place is the legacy of an extraordinary person, Ernest Timothy McCluskey, and of the people who in the 1930s followed him to a remote, unpromising jungle in one of the poorest parts of northern India. The Anglo-Indians are the descendants of the British and the Indians, because when the British were there, during the British Raj, they married Indians and their offsprings were Anglo-Indians. That's the only way I can say it. If anybody else can beat me on it, that's very good, because some weren't Portuguese. You see, this is what I say. Most of them are all Christians. Some of them are Catholics, some of them are Church of England. And they all speak beautiful English, and they keep a Western style of life. They were police, the post, telegraphs, the measurers, excise. They ran the railways. Unfortunately, the Anglo-Indians that went to Mccluskieganj knew nothing about agriculture. The Anglo-Indians were searching for identity, and they wanted a homeland. Yeah, now the problem is now the Christian sins are going. They've been there so long. So what it boils down to, the old people are just staying on, and the young people are just going. Yeah, there's Mrs. Tip-Top. She won't leave. She won't leave in a hurry. Her grandchildren are there. That's Ivan Victor. He took me all over. He took me to the cemetery. He got my shoes repaired cheap. He said, no, well, don't worry. I'll get it done for you.
Yeah, you do you find any big changes in
Oh,
Mccluskieganj
yes, a lot
now?
of changes,
Yes?
I love Mccluskieganj. Why? It's cheap. And
Yes.
furthermore, the water is simply pure here. It's the best water in Bihar.
Yes.
Mccluskieganj is like a hill station. It's like a semi-hill station. September you get beautiful weather here.
Yeah.
Really beautiful weather here. My father was on the railway for nearly about 30 years. Then we had steam trains. And look at the engines.
Yes,
My, spotless.
those engines
the
were-
brassware was clean.
Yeah,
Everything. Why? Because the Indians took a pride in their work. I myself, I was a chargeman in Gorakhpur.
Yeah.
I had about 40 men underneath me.
Yes, that's right.
When the engine deal at Samastipur, I had to go. The
Yeah.
works manager called me, said, Stringer, get ready. You got to take 40 men there. The engine is to overturn
And put it on.
and re-rail it
rail.
and get the signature from the
Yeah.
loco foreman and from the station master. Then the job is cleared.
Yeah.
I spent 5 days in Samastipur.
Yeah, and all
Those
the-
were days.
All the jobs,
Those
everything.
were days, you see.
Anglo-Indians are always on the top.
Yeah, the station master was an Anglo-Indian.
They were relied upon.
The loco foreman was an Anglo-Indian. The works manager was an Anglo-Indian.
Yeah.
The ticket collector was an Anglo-Indian.
All.
I'll say this. I'll say
All
this.
is to be back.
I will say. Kitty Teixeira, her grandfather was one of the first settlers in Mccluskieganj. People say that she was half Welsh and she was part of Portuguese and part Indian. She had beautiful children. And her grandfather really did something constructive because he built the well for the crops to grow.
I've had a farm. Yeah, my grandfather had lots of cattle, and we used to make our own butter, sell milk, sell butter, We had poultry. We used to sell eggs at the farm at that time. We make our own ghee. We had a vegetable garden here, a flower garden here. So at that time it was beautiful. When Grandpa fell ill, we had to sell the cattle, the goats and all. And I was selling fruit. The steam engines were running. That time we used to have a long stoppage because the engines had to go quite far for water. So the stoppage was about 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, and we used to sell about 400, 500 rupees at one train. But now due to the diesel engines, it stops only for 2 minutes. And you can't sell much.
My name is Mary Morris. I've attained the age of 77 years and have enjoyed a full and interesting life with no regrets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I had my schooling at Loretto Convent, Darjeeling. Thereafter, I went to London to train as a hairdresser and beautician at the Mayfair Salon, Hanover Square, London. After gaining a diploma from the Mayfair Salon, I returned to India. We were sadly in the throes of World War II. With spirited loyalty to my king and country, I gave up my profession to join the Red Cross Welfare Service, working in various military hospitals in Southeast Asia Command.
There are a lot of Indians that are moving into Mccluskieganj. For instance, General Maya Das, 3-star general, and I liked him very much.
Think of damage.
Always wears better than male.
Females. And the female of the species always knows when to say so also. Anyway, she's okay. But this one's lost a lot of hair from the ears.
I had heard about a quaint corner in Bihar named Mccluskieganj, originally an Anglo-Indian colony, with a peaceful atmosphere where one breathes God's fresh air and where one is awakened at dawn by the singing of birds.
Well, Mccluskieganj, first of all, I think there's no sort of pollution of any kind. Here you can do what you want to, when you want to. You can live a comfortable life. And there's no question of sort of, vying with the Joneses.
Several attractive bungalows with tiled roofs were up for sale. I made my choice, which I named Loretto. To me, Loretto was like a new toy. I enjoyed settling into my new home, laying out a garden with tender, loving care, which now draws me like a magnet.
I've met this fellow, Roderick Cameron. I said, he's got a nice-looking wife and and he likes Mccluskieganj.
There's no social life here. We just have a few friends. We go around. That's all.
We go play bridge and...
I don't play bridge.
Of course, you don't play bridge, of course. But we have our regular parties and people come over and we go over. It's a sort of an exchange program, you can say.
To buy a large estate here for a song, which you can't do in the rest of India. Property is very expensive, but somehow or the other, this area has not caught on, and property prices are low. Plus, and a very important point these days in the cities, is that you can't get servants there. And here we've got 4 or 5 for the price of 1 servant, possibly of 1.5 servants or 2 servants in Delhi.
Domestics are local tribals who, though pleasant, are unpredictable and therefore need my guidance. You are working for me. You are working for me. I am paying you. You're not working, you're not doing it for nothing. He's an insolent man because he's learnt a little English. He thinks he's on the same level. The Anglo-Indians.
Anglo-Indians, they try to live like the Bara Sahibs in England.
Look at this, ladies' fingers. Look at these ladies' fingers. You wouldn't get this even Bombay too. Look at the size of them. Look at kitna bada, yeah? Look how big they are.
And then here, look here. Look at the size of that. Look at this one.
Beautiful, man.
Huh?
You wouldn't get this in Calcutta.
There's no need for people to go anywhere, you know.
No, you can get all the goods here.
Yeah.
Everything under the sun here you can get. There's Judy there.
Yes, go there.
Hello, Judy.
Hello, Judy. Hello.
All right. How do you know? My name's Stringer. Wilfred Stringer. My dad had property up here. In 1954 I was here. And then from there I went to England to work, and now I'm thinking of coming back here.
Is that a wise decision?
Yeah, I think it is. If things work out all right, then I'll get my money and I'll finally settle here. It's nice here. It's nice. It's cheaper here.
Mccluskieganj, it was a very nice place before, but now it's gone to the dogs. A few of the Anglo-Indians are genuine, and the others are not. I do want to go and mix with them, but they're, you know, talking about this one, talking about that one, talking about that one. That's why I don't like that. You see your own first. Look after yourself and don't talk about other people. That's the problem here. So I don't mix with only certain people that I visit and certain people that come over here to my place.
I'm a person that would rather know a few people and the right people than know a lot of people and the wrong people. And when one first arrives here, you come with an open mind, and then you find you are in a hornet's nest. That's what I have found, and that has made me a bit of a recluse. I prefer to keep to myself and look after my own home, my garden, my dog, who's a great pal of mine. And I'm quite content and happy to be left alone.
Well, it seems that Kitty thinks she's sort of brainwashed, or that somebody's cast a spell on her. then you've actually got to go to somebody to get that spell removed.
Witchcraft is, you have a lot of trouble. You can never be the children either falling sick or you lose money, your sales are not good. This carries on, keeps carrying on and carrying on and carrying on. Then you find out that witchcraft has been done. You go to one of the witch doctors and they'll just tell you, yes, this witchcraft has been done on you, that's why your sales are not. You're going down in every kind of business that you try to do. Before I used to, in the fruit business I wasn't losing out. Before I used to money on the fruit business. That went down and down and down and down and down till I had to even dismantle this room and sell off the sheets and bricks. Then I started this business. Now this is going down and down and down. I started with 100 and I went up to 5 and now it's come down to 50. And now I don't think it'll go up again.
But speaking for myself, I'm quite happy to be back. In fact, when the plane touched Delhi, I kissed the ground again, like the Pope. That's how much I love the country.
We are thinking of that if we can get a buyer for the house, then we will go somewhere where we could have company and doctors and medicine and transport. These things are not available nowadays here.
England has got all the facilities. I quite agree with all the facilities. But are people happy there? That is the position. Are people happy there?
Are people happy here? We just exist. Even the peace of Mccluskieganj is gone. Since this Piparoa line is going to come, all night the engines, the jumpers and things, the dust, the roads, everything is going haywire.
That's going to be progress. They can't go on.
But why must progress spoil peace?
I don't think the Anglo-Indians are very united here. In fact, there are not many Anglo-Indians left here. They don't socialize or meet, and it's a very small place. So, gossiping here and there, that happens all the time. And that causes animosity. I mean, I wanted to do so many things to get the Anglo-Indians here together, but fortunately they are too busy doing their own things, or maybe I don't really understand their minds, actually. You. All right, sir, okay. To my place this evening. The whole time safe. The whole time safe. Okay, okay. The current again. Oh. Mccluskieganj, shit place.
The breakdowns of the electricity is always happening in the Ganj.
Thus, it was a reason for unspeakable joy when the International Bible Students adopted the name Jehovah's Witnesses in 1931. Not only was it joy-inspiring, but it was most encouraging. On this account, the newly named Bible students could be encouraged and encourage one another. We'll sing song number 28, bless our meeting together. Bless us as we meet together. Great Jehovah, we are praying. For our meeting, we do thank you. May your spirit with us stay.
Harry Mendes. Oh, that's Harry Mendes. He's one of the original settlers. I don't know that lady at all. She's before my time.
We can see the changes are not anything to the good. I mean, to begin with, you see it in front here.
Yes.
The scene. You came here 10 years ago.
Yes.
There were big trees, beautiful
Oh,
trees.
yes, the beautiful trees, yes.
And there'll be birds calling. In another 2 years, you won't see any birds calling on this line anywhere. They'll be gone.
And about the wildlife?
Wildlife is beautiful. You know, I've shot 2 panthers going to a dance.
Really?
I had my whole family in the car.
Oh.
And I shot 2 panthers between this and the road, my house. My house wasn't very far from here.
Yes.
So you see,
Panthers one night, yes, and then?
One night, I shot 7 tigers in one night.
My word, it was a real jungle. Dear Lady Hayward, I was in Calcutta at Easter and heard the exciting news that Emma was to be married on May 9th and that your faithful butler, Abdul, was to be at the wedding.
Grandfather was very fond of music, and he used to play the serenades. Old Man River, old Kentucky homes. We used to listen to this, the old Kentucky home. The birds warble sweetly in springtime. Ave Maria. My mother's favorite, and her name is written here. Vienna bonbons. Of the south. Roses of the south. Oh, this is George Formby. The Deatker song. Yes, that was a nice one.
These 2 photographs are of Jennifer Jones. I had the privilege of giving her beauty treatments when she came to London to make a film, The Barretts of Wimpole Street. And she autographed this photograph for me, which I treasure very much. And that's her when she took the part of Little Bernadette in the Song of Bernadette. And this is Sylvia Peters, a delightful client of mine who was a celebrated television announcer in London. And Mary Malcolm was also a television announcer. And of course, this is Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, who is loved by the English people and by me, because I find that she resembles my own mother tremendously.
God-fearing woman. People from Australia used to come and see her.
Yeah,
my mother was such a good Christian that she used to get my dad to say, don't hang around the house, get something going.
Yes,
go and get the church painted. And out of my dad's own money, he used to go and get the church painted, St. John's Church painted. So, this is my mother's grave.
Yeah.
Very good woman. Lord have mercy upon her. That's just one. I was her favorite. And the eldest boy was her favorite. What an education my mother gave me. Sent me the best school in India. Nainital, Francis Smith College. Wonderful. Never smoked, never drank. God-fearing. Every Sunday I had to take her to Mass. It was my job to take her to Mass. My dad wouldn't bother, but my mother would go. My mother would ask Dad for the money and get about 5 rupees, and she used to give him the collection. Very good woman.
And she died in her 70th year.
Yeah, she came back from a trip from Ranchi, and the roads were so bad that when she got there, she just collapsed, you see. She was a big-made woman, very big-made woman, very heavily built, you see. And then when she had the heart attack, then my father called for Mrs. Cliptop, and then she died that same day. And of course the funeral was on. And then it's quite a big funeral. I wasn't here. But according to Mrs. Tiptop, she said, I laid my mother out, you know, made all the linen and all that goes with it.
Yes, she did everything.
She did everything.
Incidentally, your mother died on the 70th year, and my wife died also 70 years and 2 months in December.
Lovely person she was. The Hindus loved her, the Muslims loved her, the Christians loved her, the Anglicans loved her too. The British people loved her. She had a lot of British friends.
Yes, she was a lovely
very
woman.
Popular woman.
BBC World Service. Now here's David Coles with Sports Roundup. And several close calls. There's a surprise winner at the European PGA title at Wentworth. Tottenham and England footballer Paul Gascoigne will finally sign for Lazio later.
Ireland play the provincial side Canterbury at Lancaster Park in Christchurch on Saturday. Danaher will be replaced in the centre by Martin Ridge, and the scrum half Fergus Ahern will take over the captaincy. In yachting, America Cube has won the 4th race against the Italian challenger Il Moro de Venezia to take a 3-1 lead in the final of the America's Cup off the coast of California. America Cube needs only one more win for overall victory. And with that,
they're trying to improve the place.
The cemetery's been done up beautifully.
Yes.
The cemetery's been beautiful. And there's those two trees there in the cemetery look so beautiful.
Yes.
In the poster I said, and not only that.
Yeah, my little doggy is coming here, you see. My little doggy is coming.
What I do like about the Ganj, I think the people are very honest here, very honest. It's so natural here and so cheap.
Anglo-Indians, when they came here, there was about 200 families here, and they had no idea about agriculture. Mainly, I mean, they had to come here to do something here. But they came here and they really had a good time and they enjoyed themselves. They had no idea about the future here.
This is Mrs. Tiptop, one of the oldest residents in Mccluskieganj. This is the lady that used to live opposite my father's house, and we knew her for many, many years. When my mother died, she laid my mother out. Mr. and Mrs. Tiptop came originally to do some farming, but when they came there, they found that it's too late for them to learn that trade. She makes elixir out of elderberries and mulberries. She's quite a good expert of it. I tasted some myself, and it's quite nice.
The Anglo-Indians, when they first came in, they brought a lot of money, but they spent it all on drink and parties. And a lot of the money went into the ground. We tried our best to cultivate and all, but we couldn't cope. We ourselves failed. We had cattle. We came in ready to do farming. Now my husband was very anxious, but we couldn't manage it.
Oh, yes, there's Mr. Sao, yes. He had a shop. He must remember a lot of Anglo-Indians.
वो लोग खेती बाड़ी में ठीक ऐसा माने ये नहीं थे, माने पूरा ये नहीं कर पाते थे. फूल बगीचा लगाते थे, गाछ लगाते थे, और अपना बंगला का रिपेयरिंग वगैरह सब कुछ सफाई रखते थे. अपना फूल बगीचा अच्छा से रखते थे. रात को शाम को 4 बजे लोग घूमने निकलता था. भोरे 5 बजे उठ करके भी चलता था, थोड़ा कम बेसी. यही सब का आदत था, घूमने फिरने का. अच्छा हवा बरसात के लिए, हवा के लिए यहाँ पर अच्छा क्लाइमेट अच्छा था. कोई टाइम भी 12 बजे दिन में, 2 बजे दिन में, कभी भी घूमने के लिए यहाँ ऐसा कोई गर्मी खास नहीं पड़ता था।
अच्छा, वो साहब जो था वो क्या नाम है, वो जो चावल एक वो दीना दुकान किया,
हरग्रीव।
वो क्या किया था वो?
हरग्रीव ने जैसे आप आया, बोला हमको चावल दो, तो क्वेश्चन किया दुकानदार से कि चावल कैसे बनता है, तो थोड़ा सा दिमाग लगाने लगा दुकानदार, चावल कैसे बनता है आप पूछता है, तो धान से बनता है। कि धान कैसे होता है, धान जमीन पर होता है। नहीं, हम चावल मांगता है, तो चावल मांगता है तो चावल लगाइए जमीन पर और वही मिलेगा आपको।
और लगा दिया चावल।
उसके बोला अच्छा हमको चावल दो, तो चावल दे दिया 1 कुंटल, 1 बोरी, वो लेकर जमीन में फेंक दिया। कुछ दिन के बाद देखता है जमीन में कुछ नहीं है, बोलता ब्लडी तुम हमको ये हमने क्या कर दिया, हमारा जमीन खराब कर दिया, कोई एक चावल नहीं मिला।
She's just the sort of creature like her nature did intend, to walk right through the worldly wise without the Grecian band. Or did she wear a chignon? I have you want to know. And I met her in the garden where the Pleiades grow. The parents concerned with children free, 2 boys like the mother and the girl was just like me. And now we have to train them up the way they ought to go. And I met her in the garden where the Pleiades grow.
That's Kitty. As well as the mango business, Kitty has to go around the market to sell her sweets once a week. That's just she's surviving by getting that, selling her goods there and selling tea. But the main reason why she has to go to support her children, that she's kept very busy. It's quite a good store. I mean, according to standard rates, it's quite a good store. She knows she has to have a job. She knows she has to make the sweets because she's got lovely children.
Kitty, ये दो और एक चाय। चाय ठीक है ना? ठीक है चाय।
खराब है, इलायची मारा हुआ चाय।
ठीक है। फायदा वायदा है होटल में?
फायदा है कि घाटा है वो तो आप ही ने समझते होंगे।
अरे तुम बताओ, कमाई वमाई है कि नहीं?
नहीं भाई, 2% मिल रहा है तो का?
बस सिर्फ 2%? और कुछ नहीं?
Business is not good. So change over to
lay out
something else.
500 and you get only 150 back.
So change over to something else.
Thinking of changing over to something else.
Very good crowd today over here.
The worldly wise without the Grecian band. Or did she wear a chignon? I have you want to know. And I met her in the garden where the Pleiades grow.
Oh, what are you doing, madam? You take so much time, क्या? तुम अपना काम करो. अब देखो, ठीक से करो सटने. हाँ, चलाओ, ठीक से करो. ठीक से करो, जिधर और टूटा-फूटा कुछ है, सब साफ करो, झाड़ू मारो. ब्रश भी है. There's a brush here. Come on, जल्दी करो, चलाओ. और झाड़न से भी पहुंचो. The dust just keeps flying in here, so I have to supervise because servants are very unreliable in Mccluskieganj. They are very fond of alcohol, the local brew called Mawa. You never know from day to day whether you are going to have a servant or not. So one has to be prepared to be a housewife and do all the chores. So I'm just supervising that it's done properly because they rather shirk. So I have to do my little bit of chores as well.
Yeah. When I was stationed in Gorakhpur there, I had this beautiful house there.
Yeah.
I had a servant for 30 rupees a week. Her name is Bounty. And she'd keep the place spotless. She'd cook the meal, right, and she'd go back and come in the afternoon. Yeah. And she even used to tell me, Saab, you ran out of tea, you ran out of sugar, you ran out of this thing. And
everything used to be done.
And I trusted her. I would give her the money, she'd never rob, and she'd come back with change. I said, those were beautiful days, beautiful days.
Those are the days gone by, yes.
The British Raj days were out of this world. We lived in comfort, we had good service, we were able to relax and entertain friends in a normal way. Now it is just a terrible strain. In fact, in those days, it was known as the good old days.
Then on a Saturday, go to the dances, the railway institute dance then, and everybody the same. Station master,
all.
Works manager, all the
All
same. They
Anglo
all buy your
Indian.
beer.
And all
but
Anglo
while they were
Indian.
on duty, they kept their designations. They said, don't talk to me, I'm works manager. Don't talk to me, I'm station master. But Saturday night, they were all not in uniform.
Yeah.
All Anglo Indian, wearing coat and tie and shirt and all that.
All Anglo
And you can
Indian.
go and ask their wives for a dance. What
Yeah.
beautiful days those were. You'll never get
All
those days
Anglo
again.
Indian.
All Anglo Indian.
Not the labor of my hand can fulfill thy laws divine. Would my zeal ever use? Would my tears forever flow? All for things would not atone. Thou must live and thou know. Nothing in my hands I bring, simply to thy cross I cling. All I do, the fountains fly, wash me, Savior, or I die. Look of baby cleft for me. Let me hide myself in thee.
Things were cheap, and there
There was
was
discipline.
discipline, yes. The streets were
There was
clean.
honesty.
The
There was
trains ran on
everything
time.
was clean.
Right.
There were no, you couldn't complain about anything. Have you been married?
Didn't work out well at all. Marry in haste and repent at leisure. That's my story.
You know, she was a bit like Elizabeth Taylor. Now, I don't like to run that actress down but she was like that, you know. She'd like the boyfriends, you know what I mean? So if I was away at work, fellows used to hang around the house, you know, and say, come on, Mr. Stringer. And of course, the love-making was going on, you see? So, and she was a bit of a troublemaker as well, quite a troublemaker. We'd take me to the bazaar, I would take her in the bazaar. Why is that bugger looking at me? Tell him not to look at me. Go and tell him not to look at me. I said, listen, Ramona, you're not a goddess, I said. Go and tell him not to look at me. He says, I said, no, I'm not going to tell him. She said, you're a coward. You don't fight up for my rights. Yes, she said, you don't fight up for my rights. You don't love me anymore. And I could see what was happening. One night, I asked her. I said, are you coming to the dance? Now, Saturday used to be a big affair in the railway institute. I said, are you coming to the dance? She said, I'm not coming to the dance. She said, I've got a headache. All lies. Anyway, I went to the dance. Came back at about 11 o'clock in the night. And the dog started barking. When the dog started barking, 3 boys rushed out from the room. And they were spooning her. So I put on the lights. I said, who's here? I said, what's happening here? I said. And they're all... And I said, you bloody... You know how to say it. I said, you again you're at it. Asking these boys to come here and you're taking money off them, I said. 3 months after, she picked up with the police inspector. She took all his money. He died of a heart attack.
Oh dear.
I don't believe in witchcraft, but I know Kitty's got some fellow there to come and take the witchcraft off. Whether it works or not, I don't know. But she's got herself into it, and she has to get herself out of it.
अच्छा तो जैसे निसारी हो जीते और मन के पता लागते तो खर्च के में कर थुनते अगर बकरवा दबे तो
कभी तेरे के वहाँ कर
लाभन करते पलटा भी
हाँ
You know that tall man with the beard? He's cast the spell on us. He's the one who's had it cast on us. Because he's after the property. Cheap. Over the years, he thinks if he can get it, he hook up by crook. He's taken the spell off. And now he has to go and leave it in the jungles, or perhaps near a river. He says it will only be successful only for 6 months. After that, the thing will come back on its own.
Johnny's follow me, baby. I said, Johnny's follow me, baby. Johnny's follow me, baby. Got to find I can see. John's got a black magic woman. She's got to make a devil out of me.
Why did Mccluskieganj fail then?
Because the young people disliked staying in this jungle, and the big elderly people were happy here. When the young people got jobs with Americans, they took their parents away.
Certain things stand out. They never started a single school in this place. That's one of the things. The second thing is, most of them came from railway families.
Railways.
They were not at all acquainted with the agriculture of India. They thought they'll come here, and they'll do farming.
They do farming.
And thirdly, water situation was so bad that agriculture in any case, had they even wanted to do so, even now it is not a success and can never be a success. So there could be no agriculture. There were no industries here. There's no way of getting employment here. So the young people had no future here, so they went away to other places to get jobs and so on.
It's a fact of life that the Anglo-Indians, in searching for an identity, in searching for an identity, didn't know whether they were British or they were Indian, but they sort of tended to look down on Indians.
They were frightened.
That is what I say.
Fear. Yeah.
I'm
the correct word is
I agree with you 100%.
Frightened of what?
Frightened of the Indian backlash.
Yes.
There was a tremendous fear because those of us who grew up in those days, who were alive then, we saw it, and they didn't know what to expect. But when if it didn't happen, that speaks tremendously for the Indian ethos.
Most certainly.
But they feared it. There was a tremendous fear. And especially if you imagine yourself living out one person here, one person there, and one person about 400 meters away, living alone. There was a tremendous fear.
You know, there were houses here, which I know. When lock was put on, the key was given to me. I will never come back.
No, they've never come back.
He never came back. The house is now ruined.
Almost every single family left. And they all left unnecessarily. I'm the only one in my family who remained in India.
Yeah.
Each and every member of my family went abroad.
Yes, it was panic.
The panic that caused it. Their houses are all round, just left.
Well, the Ganj is dead. I do not want to die with it. I'm going to what I believe would be a better future for myself and my family.
See why the Christians are going. But I suppose somebody's filled their ears up and said, Goa's paradise, Goa's paradise. So they're going to Goa.
Okay.
Goa is a holiday resort. It's a holiday resort. I don't know what they're going to do there. There are only about 20 to 30 families where there used to be 250. They've all gone now.
Anglo-Indians are spread out all over the world. All our people have gone.
I think it's high time the people who went to Australia, the 7,000 that have gone there, should really start coming back here.
Oh, yes.
You
Many
see?
are wanting to come back.
Yeah.
Yes, many are wanting to come back from
Why
Australia.
aren't they coming back?
From Australia, from England, from Canada.
Yeah.
My sons are always coming here.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, my sons are always coming here, children.
Well, for the children, I mean, we are thinking now of educating them outside Mccluskieganj. And right now we are seriously thinking about, in fact, trying to get the family away to Australia because of them, actually, because there's not much for them to do here anyway.
Well, I think actually when the doors of Australia and other countries were open for young people, the young ones left and the old ones got older and lost interest.
This is a very heartbreaking moment, the day I was leaving Mccluskieganj to go to Delhi. Ivan was such a good friend. I said, I feel terrible leaving. Ivan said to me, well, right? I said, yeah, sure, all right. Ivan was very good to me. Ivan saw me right at the station. He's even sorted me a plot of land out there. He says, well, leave it to me. He says, when you come, I'll fix you up. He says, just see about your pension, he says. That's all, he says. So you're doing him a favor by accepting 1,500. But when you get that 1,500, it goes. Because 1,500 is not much. But if he gives you, if you say you want 3,000.
Mccluskieganj is a nice place. It's not a bad place. I was born here and I like the place. This is my homeland.
Thanks ever so much. God bless you. Wonderful time. Ta-ra. I've seen the world and I've gone back to the area that was given to us. Whatever it is, whether it's gone down the pan, but I still like it. I know it's a losing battle, but I love Mccluskieganj. And God willing, I hope against hope that I go back to Mccluskieganj.